The Art of Living project has been produced to create awareness of empowerment and ways of living based on strong ethics and ecological values. First up was a visit to the inspirational environs of Sonarta, which is the National Ecology Centre of Ireland, and they are the legal representative of this youth initiative project. They are supporting us in the making of this documentary.
My name is Geraldine O'Toole. I went back and studied horticulture about 10 years ago, and when I finished studying, I heard some friends of mine told me about this place, and I came up here for a job interview, and it didn't materialise. I didn't have the money. So when I was here, the person who was interviewing me told me to go on into the garden, and that was 5 years ago. And so I'm still here. At the moment, if say I'm working in the garden, if it's this time of year, you might be seed sowing or potting on and putting it into the ground. There's a lot of different. If it's in the winter, you could be pruning trees and apples and fruit bushes. So when I'm in my gardening mode, I would do whatever is in season. And then sometimes I work on education. We have a lot of local schools that come in, and we, children, and we teach them. We have different programs running, so I get involved in that occasionally, and you end up doing a bit of everything when you come here. A bit of office work, gardening, everything really. It's busy. There's always more to do than you can do because your time is limited. So it would be good if we had more people here. Yeah. I'd say it's important for every community to have a space like this. It's our mission statement is that Sonarta is a place that inspires people to connect with nature. So it's nice if every community has an inspirational place that would help them connect better and be more integrated into their lives, and for the younger generations and current people, just to somewhere like this that's more open.
Just across the road from Sonarta lies the Ninch Farm. Brothers Colm and Declan McIntosh left city life to manage and live an organic farm in order to achieve a self-sustainable lifestyle.
My name's Colm McIntosh. I'm living on the Ninch Farm. I came down here about 4 years ago from Dublin. I was working as a photojournalist, and I was trying to sell photographs online, but couldn't really sell them online. So Declan was living here, and I used to come and visit him, and fell in love with the place. While I used to stay here over weekends and stuff. So when I moved down, the whole place was empty. The farm was a dead farm. So we decided that we wanted to get some life back into the place. So first of all, we started to rent some of the stables out, and some of the storage space that we had, we started to rent them out for people with boats or caravans, and that's where it started. And then we came up with the idea of the allotments. And the allotments is it's mainly for the community. It's to give people maybe with no gardens, or maybe people who are into gardening, give them a place to come and to grow their own fruit, organic fruit and vegetables, and also to enjoy the atmosphere of the farm.
My name is Declan McIntosh, Colm's brother. We lived here when we were children as a family. Colm may not remember it, but we came down to Laytown on holidays for a few years. One day I was driving through Laytown, and it suddenly struck me that I wanted to come back to Laytown. I felt a sudden surge of energy from this place. So I moved back here in 2002. I got involved in the Ecology Centre, Sonarta, across the road, in 2004, and I became interested in the environment and the organic way of life, and the better need for self-sustainability. Vegetarian organic food is the purest food you can eat, and it's a very important part of some people's diets. We have a lot of difficulties with food and ingredients nowadays, such as celiacs and obesity in people. So I think if people go back a little bit to nature, using natural products, natural food, they'll get a better result out of it in the end. we have two sources of volunteers here. One is Woofing and one is Costa Love. A group of volunteers came to me and they offered their volunteer services. And through the Youth Initiative Programme, we've been granted funding, or they've been granted funding, to build an airchip on the premises here. With our permission to build the premises, we're going to use, it will be an eco-friendly construction.
Yeah, I'm studying horticulture level 4 in Sonarta in the National Ecology Centre, and it's great for me to be able to give advice to people in the allotments, and instead of being telling them that I don't know, now I can answer their questions, and but in the long run I hope to be able to teach horticulture in the allotments, and teach people how to grow their own fruit and veg, and let them understand about the ground and the soil and what we need to grow. I tell them, get out there and grow your own fruit and veg, and challenge yourself, and that's it.
I'd say the same. Stick your head out in the countryside and see what other people are doing. Look at our heritage, look at what we have in this country, apart from the problems that it creates nowadays. But just open your eyes, take your hands out of your pockets and do something. There's an awful lot of unemployment in this country, and we need to motivate people to invite volunteers as well into the country and say, okay, let's do something together, let's work together, let's get out of this recession together.
After a 1-hour commute, we called into young crafty couple Laura from Brazil and Lucas from Poland to see their transformed inner city backyard and to hear of their involvement in encouraging community allotments and pursuing their crafts.
Okay, so my name is Laura. I'm from Brazil. I have been living in Ireland for five years now. And in Ireland I got more in touch with environmental grassroots groups and animal rights groups too. So I got to know a network of activists and people involved in doing things themselves. And that brought me inspiration to start acting for myself and for the community too. I have studied environment and development in Trinity, and the focus of my interest has always been grassroots organizations and how civil society are coming about tackling environmental issues, climate change, sustainability, and so on. Well, I think Lucas is the one who did it because he has the strength. It was just packed of rubbish to the top, and they cleared the bags of rubbish. People were simply throwing the rubbish here. The compost came almost naturally. We decided, okay, let's make the compost because that will reduce to the amount of black beans that we have. So, and you can, the impact is enormous because we don't have as many black beans, like the normal beans, as we used to have. We used to have almost, back in the day, 1 per day. Basically in one day it would be full, and that means one label for the bin, which means it's 450, 450 for the label. With the compost, we have 6 people now in the house, and it's compost for 6 people over a year period of time that gets to be reused in the very backyard, which is growing now our vegetables and our herbs. So the impact of having a bit of a more ecologically and environmentally aware way of living, it's good for you, it's good for the environment, it's not costly for your pocket. It just brings benefits. Basically, I don't see any way that this could be negative to anyone. Well, there's this plot of land, it belongs to the council. The community already manifested an interest in having a community garden, but because there was too much vandalism in this area, they turned this idea down. But with this group again, it brings a new energy and a new willingness to do stuff again. So we're let's try the next demonstration of how to clear the grass in that plot there. I don't think we need authorization because it belongs to the council, and I don't think nobody will be pissed if they see a flower or a potato there, really. I don't think nobody will come, what is this potato here? I like to share what I'm learning and I like to know that what I'm doing, the consequences of my actions have a positive impact on the community, in the society, and in the environment. Try to grow your own things, become self-resilient, like be less dependent of corporations, or try to do things yourself, like do it yourself, but and share what you're doing with the others.
So my name is Lucas, and I'm from Poland, and I live in Ireland here for 5 years, over 5 years already. And I lost my job, like my this kind of official job, a couple of months ago, and then I was trying to do something, you know, trying to kind of make money and doing something that I could live out of it as well. And then I like art, like always, so I focused more on doing art, and I started painting, I started doing some drawings and making some crafts as well, but environmentally friendly crafts, doing things out of something that for someone can be rubbish and can have no use. I do bags, I do like a shoulder bags and like utility belts, belt bags, and I make them out of sample book fabrics that loads of furniture shop used to throw out to the skip, and sample book fabrics are like a book with pieces of good new fabrics, and they would land in the rubbish. I would like to live in a community in the future, in kind of a sustainable, eco-friendly community that take cares for environment, take cares for the community, for the people, share the idea of being sustainable, ecologically friendly, good to each other, educate yourself, share with others, and not being focused on consumism and being thinking only about yourself, only thinking about the whole planet, like we are all kind of one, yeah.
Meanwhile, in an adjacent neighbourhood, the urban farm is growing food crops on the rooftop of the atmospheric old chocolate factory using aquaponics, hydroponics and traditional growing methods.
I suppose I come from a horticultural background. My great-grandparents used to have a nursery out in Dean's Grange called The Grange, and then my grandmother and my mother would have been florists, or were florists I suppose, so that's all flower arrangement. For about 2 years I was looking for a space for the urban farm, a building that would contain the urban farm by itself with some sort of an outdoor area where I could have a polytunnel. So I was looking online at online estate agents, and I saw the roof. You know, it was one, the leaseholder who had the building had put a picture of the roof up, also pictures of the inside of the building and the outside of the building. So once I saw a picture of the roof, I said, well, that looks pretty secure to me, I'll go try that out. Try the leaseholder out, you know. So I came in, and it turned out he wanted to open a restaurant on the ground floor of the building, and he loved the idea of a garden farm on the rooftop. The rooftop garden is the chef's new toy. You know, it used to be like the Seuss cooker or the microwave oven. Now every chef wants a rooftop garden, you know, so it very much went hand in hand with what the leaseholder of the building wanted to do. He wanted to have a restaurant, I wanted to have a farm. So from the farm to the restaurant, it all gelled together, you know. So what is happening in the building itself is it's turning into a collaborative community art centre. For a number of years the building was derelict. It was empty, all the windows were boarded up and bricked up, and it was sitting idle. So the leaseholder saw the building, he saw the potential in the building, and he managed to get a 12-year lease on the building here itself, you know. So what he's doing is he's basically encouraging artists, photographers, graphic designers, street painters, there's kung fu people, there's sound studios. He's encouraging all these people to come into the building and basically work, you know, use it as a working space for creating art, creating pieces of music, and so forth, and the urban farm on the rooftop. Yeah, we have a very special project on the rooftop. We're growing 160 different types of Irish and UK heritage potatoes. So in Ireland there's 320 different types of potato. We're going to grow 160, half of the collection. And basically we're growing this collection of potatoes for a restaurant in Temple Bar. They make a traditional pancake called a boxty. So that's so basically we're growing 160 potatoes for that restaurateur, and he's going to collaborate. He's going to coordinate the harvest of the 160 different types of potato, with a gathering festival. So the gathering in Ireland is where a lot of people who've left the country have been invited back to the country to to hang out and meet their families and join up with groups and so forth, and basically try to bring a bit more economy back into the country. So what we're doing is we have a lot of different micro enterprises within the farm, small businesses that can be upscaled into larger enterprises. One of them would be collecting coffee waste and growing oyster mushrooms. Another one would be our fish farm, where we have tilapia. Basically, it's not really a fish farm, it's called aquaponics. Aquaponics is the merging of aquaculture and hydroponics. So aquaculture is fish farming, hydroponics is growing plants in water.
Staying on Dublin's north side, the crew then experienced the colourful Seomra Spree, which is a collective of people that have created a free social space based on equality.
Yes, Seomra Spree it's a social centre. The idea behind it is to provide a space for groups and individuals to have the space to develop campaigns and protest, to organise protests. In terms of the ethics of it, it's an open space for anybody to come in and use. We try for it to be as open as possible, and we try to develop what's known as a safer space, so as people can feel, all people who come in can feel comfortable to be themselves and to engage.
In Seomra Spree is generally, there are two kind of sides to Seomra Spree, the sides that have meetings and then the sides that are more party oriented, I guess. Every Monday we have Spanish class. We used to have Basque classes as well and Arabic classes, but they stopped. Tuesdays and Wednesdays we have a cafe, which is all vegan, and usually there are gluten-free things as well. And then Thursday we have our bakery, and some Fridays we have cinema, and then there are other events or gigs on here, bands play, DJs and things like that.
But basically what the space is it's a DIY culture melting pot. So I know it's a bike workshop, but if you look around you'll see a lot of other things that have been made by the volunteers and the mechanics in the shop. Just behind me there is a fully functional wood burning stove made out of gas canisters and fire extinguishers, which is perfect for DIY home renovations or vehicle living lifestyles. But it's more about the whole space is about the skill sharing aspect of it and training the next generation.
It was a long and eventful road to the magical Dingle Peninsula. The Atlantic climate got the better of the crew's camper van on arrival. The following morning we awoke to a glorious West of Ireland day and experienced Camp Hill community life.
Someone had told me about Camp Hill, a community in England where lots of people live together and they are not family based, they just come together because they have found a task to work together with people with learning disability, special needs, as we say in Camp Hill. And there was farms there was workshops, there was art, beautiful landscape. So I ended up in Botton Village in North Yorkshire, and that's where my Camp Hill career started in 1987. I came to Dingle in 2006. I thought, that's really Ireland here. Very wild, but lots of contact with the local community we have. That's a very special place here. And beautiful landscape as well, and nice people everywhere in the community and outside. And there's a lot of potential here, openness to reach beyond our community, and there are people coming on our open days and they say, "That's amazing, what are you doing here?" and so, and we say, "Oh, we're doing our little, we have our garden here and work with people with special needs, and we're still waiting to build our own house, we haven't got it yet." But they discover that, I think, well, they see what we are doing, but I think it's not so much what we are doing, but how we are doing it. We are living on the world in a community, whether we want it or not. Because we are in a global, everybody talks about globalization. We are all connected, and the more we become aware of it, and the more we live according to that, the healthier and the truer the development of ourselves, but also of our societies will be. And maybe that's very abstract, but I start doing it by living in community here on a small scale, and I try to encourage our community to interact with the other people who are not in communities or other communities, and that's how we can start. Can't change the whole world, I can start here. And so that's, everybody has to find where is their community and how can they work on a local scale.
Also with children with social problems, and I just realized that kind of it doesn't, I can't stand behind this idea that to have work times and off times, and to work with the children, you know, it's work to work with you, to tell you a story, it's work for me, and now I'm off, you have to go to somebody else. Kind of just didn't feel alright for me, and I was looking for an alternative to that, and and so I came then to Camp Hill. I found the typical day starts with getting out the people with special needs. Some of them need a bit more help, some a bit less. Having breakfast with them, and then at 9:15 we meet here on the land and have a morning gathering together, like you saw today, to organize a day, to just meet and start together the day. And then yeah, the different workshops, there's the farm, there's the garden, the weavery. Somebody always is cooking in the houses. And yeah, what I found important about the Eaters in Camp Hill is the equality, that there is not a hierarchy like the people with special needs and the carers, and or the management group and the co-workers. We try to be a team, we are all equal, and everybody can learn from everybody, and everybody supports everybody in their way, how they can. And life is not all about work, life is also about fun, and life is about relationships, and yeah, how to build up relationships, and how to care for friendships, and all those things. I think it's a giving and taking, and it's an equality between all of us. And work has an important place in our community, and not work is not important to, or not the most important thing about work is not to get money. It's kind of to get a meaning in life, to make a difference in the day. When I do something, let's say I'm digging a bed, or I'm weeding, or I'm planting something, that makes a difference. It plays a matter if I'm there or not. It plays a matter what I'm doing, and that plays for me a matter, but I think that plays also for the people with special needs a matter, that they have a meaning in their life, and they have a purpose, and yeah, they're important. And I think that's a general human need. Yeah, I think life is not about just live it and finish it and it's done. I think life is about being there and doing something, and yeah, I want to put footprints, you know, good footprints on the earth, and that in the end of my life it's kind of, it plays a matter if I have been there or not. Yeah, and I wish that actually that loads of people, especially young people, would get that this kind of, hey, let's do it! The world is beautiful and let's change something, let's move something in this world. And yeah, something like that.
Find something that you are truly passionate for and really love to do and do it, or find a way to do it.
After travelling through beautiful mountain passes and colourful villages, we arrived at our next destination, Beara, where we were greeted by a maritime obstacle course before the short voyage to Beara Island. The High Chaparral is the dream of Lynn and Andy, who long to live their own lives on their own land.
Okay, so here we are, we're in Beara Island, and as you see we've got fantastic views. This is Hungry Hill over here, hidden in the clouds, and we've got Castletown Bear just here. That's our main town. I suppose things to say about the island is that it's really well serviced by 2 ferries, so although we live in a really remote and really beautiful location, we can access the town quite easily. What else can I say? Beara Island is just an amazing place. It's got fantastic history, there's fantastic fishing, and a really good climate, allegedly, although it's rained a lot over the last couple of years. Our farm is down here. You can just see the little farmstead down there with the barn and the caravans, and we have about 20 acres of land, and it stretches right up to the top of the hill over here, and actually over the back of the hill there. We're trying to reclaim a lot of land. There's a lot of bramble and briar and gorse and a lot of things growing on the land that we don't necessarily want, so we're doing a lot of clearing, and we're planting trees, and we're trying to grow food and keep a few animals here as well. That's really what we're at. Yeah, well, I've had horses all my life. They really are my family and my babies. This is 2 of them here, Yarrow and Star. I bred Yarrow, she's half Connemara, and I don't really do a whole lot with them, although I would like to work with them a little bit more. I'd like to train them to do more pulling and lifting and those kinds of things. We ride them a little bit around the island, have a bit of fun that way. Really, I just love horses. What can I say? They're just powerful and marvellous and wonderful. I made my first basket when I was in school, and my mum still has that basket, so I was good at it even from a young age. But when I was about 25, I went back to college and I did a course in creative crafts, specialising in willow and basketry, and I sort of had a natural flair for it, and I'm also really into the creative end, so I started making sculptures from willow as well as traditional baskets really right from the start, and I got some good opportunities and I did some good residencies, and I've had a lot of very good commissions over the years. My achievements, well, we've achieved a huge amount here in the space of time. We were only here 3 years, and we've got some fantastic gardens which have been cleared by the pigs and the volunteers, and we are growing lots of food, and we planted lots of trees, and I think that's really good for the short time that we're here. And my other achievements really are through my work. I have some major public art pieces now around the country that I'd be quite proud of, and I'm just about to cite 4 horses made of bog oak. I've made lots of sculptures of horses, obviously, because I love them, and I've done 4 larger-than-life horses for a roundabout on the Curragh, so I'm very excited about putting those in soon.
I always feed the pigs first, and then I check for a couple of eggs on the way down, and then when Boris gets up, he feeds all the birds in. He has his own schedule, which ones he does first, and then basically that's it, and then we go about our daily duties, like that, you know. Because I have birds over in the woods, you see, what Boris, he has his own little, how he goes about it.
I think that sustainability is social because it really is about people. The planet will sustain itself. If there was no humans, the planet would actually be a much healthier place. So as humans, we have a fundamental responsibility to take care of our environment, but also to try and live in a way that teaches other people the importance of taking care of the environment as well. I think one friend of mine said you're never too old to plant trees, and that's a really important quote. I think that the world's gone a little bit crazy, and the wastefulness is probably the worst thing. There's a huge amount of waste everywhere, and I suppose waste not, want not would be my saying, and I often say that the only thing that gets wasted around here is us.
The idea of volunteering is very interesting because it's an exchange, but it's no money involved, and it shows people that you can do stuff very interesting without having money involved or whatsoever.
Back to the mainland, and after a coast-hugging journey, we learned about one community's alternative economy. The Clonakilty Favour Exchange is a skills and labour exchange system that is open, voluntary, and does not involve the making or spending of money. It is at heart an economy of goodwill with its own currency.
About a year and a half ago, when 4 of us met up and said that we wanted to start what we understood were the LETS schemes, local exchange trading system, the idea being to set up a local currency where people could exchange for free. But we did quite a bit of research and also discovered time banks, which have also been around for about 40 years. And combining the two, the Favour Exchange itself has a basic unit of currency of 15 minutes of time, which we call the favour. So that was our starting point. And the idea is that people within the locality, from Clonakilty and around, offer their time and skills for free to each other, and the time and the input is measured in terms of favours, 15 minutes, which goes into a time bank, and people can redeem whatever they put into the time bank by asking other people for their skills and labour. We just say our slogan is the only requirement for membership is goodwill. That's what we're looking for. So if people have that sense of goodwill, they want to join a community scheme, what they do is they log on to our website and they can complete the form, which asks some basic information, a photograph, their name, some contact details, usually an email, maybe a mobile phone number, and then what skills are they offering. So they'll list 3 or 4 different things that they want to offer. And we also ask them to say whether there's something they would like as well, because the exchange works that people give as well as take. So they send that in, we get in touch with them, and we meet them as well to explain how it works, and just to be friendly and put them in touch with others. We set their page up on the website so they're part of the membership scheme. We let other members know that somebody else has joined so that they can check them out, and their skills then also get logged on the directory of skills, so that it's all there and searchable on the website, so people will be able to find them. And that's it. You're in. Yeah.
I suppose some of the new approaches, I can speak from my own point of view, would be just from a health point of view. I would have been a person who would have went to the GP if I had an ailment. Whereas now I'd go to a homeopath in the scheme for favours, and she's actually running a course, and I've had 2 of the 3 evenings that she's offering to understand homeopathy and to have a home kit and to be able to treat slight minor ailments myself. And the whole approach of homeopathy, for instance, is just so holistic. They're really interested in you, your story, your history, and your emotional and physical well-being, whereas most GPs might give you 5 minutes and a prescription for something. So, it's changing my life that way. Other members of my family are using alternative therapies that they wouldn't have done before.
The other big thing we have is the Favour Fair. Each month we meet here and we exchange goods for favours, and favours for goods, and goods for goods.
I've learned through this favour exchange to trust people. There's a great trust that comes along with the ethos, and an inclusiveness and appreciation that I think will benefit young people greatly. Everybody's got something to offer. They may not always be employed, and they may not always feel valued in their own families and communities, but people feel very valued in our alternative community. That's very valuable.
The crew then made the short trip inland to Enniskeane. The Hollies is a community of people and is a teaching centre that run courses on a number of subjects, including natural building, organic gardening, conflict resolution, and much more.
Here at the Hollies Centre for Practical Sustainability, we have built many houses out of different natural materials, some out of timber, and there is indeed timber in all of the houses, at least for the roof. Now the walls of many of our houses are made of earth. It's a natural building method that has a very long history. Indeed, it's the oldest building technique on earth, and most people still live in earthen houses across this planet. Over the first 30 years of my life, I had learnt many things that were feeding my brain. They were intellectually stimulating, and managed to get where society seemed to want me. But I hadn't learnt how to feed my family other than through money, going to the supermarket and buying food that wasn't really nutritious, food that creates more disease, going to medical practitioners who listen for a very short amount of time and give you drugs that have more negative effects than positive ones, but telling you, no, this is what you need to do. And my belief in that was waning, and my belief in another way, in a more wholesome way of meeting my needs and the needs of my family in a very different way. Mainstream society emphasizes classroom learning and learning out of books and getting that knowledge from someone in a position of authority. Our approach is different. We believe that learning happens all the time. Learning happens by seeing masters at work, and that can be in the garden, that can be on a building site, and that can be many places. Learning happens also when people come together and interact. It's a conversational way, it's a practical way. So what we try to do is to gather people, like a community of learners, and those who teach those courses always also learn from the course participants. Learning happens when we can discover things ourselves, and it usually happens in a more random way than a teacher structure can cater for. So I teach a lot also in formal settings. I teach in the Further Education College in Kinsale, FETAC courses. I sometimes teach extracurricular activities in mainstream schools, and primary schools, and secondary schools. As a teacher, I have to look at structure and a lesson plan. But as a learner, that structure can get in the way. So if I'm not flexible enough to respond to the learning needs and to all those questions, I might be giving them something that I think they need to learn, but that's not where they're at. So therefore, I think a learning environment like a family is ideal. I'm not saying that everybody should or could home educate, but I believe that it is a very valuable way that has worked for my family very well. I'm very happy that we are able to work together here as a small community. In spite of difficulties, I'm very happy that we have survived many difficulties. We've had to see through many projects and many ups and downs, and these ups and downs have helped me to grow as a person. So I'm grateful to people who have caused me trouble, because I see them ultimately as my teachers. I believe that everybody comes to this world with a certain purpose, what they are about. And many people take a long time to find that. But if we are given enough freedom to explore and to ask the questions that we want to ask, and if we are given opportunities to also dream and to access information that is there and wisdom that is in us ready to come out, then I believe that everybody can find out who they are, what they are about.
Last stop in the Rebel County was historic Kinsale. Amy created Kinsale Grain Growers in order to make the most of her skills to create a unique business guided by a passion for local food and environmental enhancement.
I'm Amy Pinder and I run Kinsale Green Growers, which is a community supported agriculture scheme in Kinsale, County Cork. So I've been running this place for the past 4 years. This is now the 4th season, and basically I grow all sorts of different types of vegetables and I put them into bags and give people in the locality like bags of veg every week throughout the summer into the autumn, and they pay for that through a community supported agriculture scheme, which means that they basically pay some money at least in advance and they're signing up for the full season, which means they're supporting me throughout the whole year. So originally I'm from England and I came to Ireland about 5 years ago in order to study at the permaculture course in Kinsale. The Transition Towns movement, the concept of it at least anyway, started here in Kinsale, actually in the college itself. That was a few years before I arrived. And the idea behind it basically is to make a plan and to make that plan happen of how to transition between a world which is completely and utterly reliant on oil to one which isn't so reliant on oil. And that's all done like on a local scale, like in terms of the actual town and the community in which we live in. If I could say one thing to the world, if everybody was listening, run for the hills! That's not true though. Stay! It's great here, guys, come on!
After a pleasant drive into the heart of the Irish Midlands, we stayed the night at the Cloughjordan Eco-Village Hostel. This eco-village is a not-for-profit organisation developing an alternative model of sustainable living.
My name is Davy Phillip. I'm Scottish, living in Ireland for almost 18 years. I work through a cooperative called Cultivate, Cultivate Living and Learning. We do education and training and facilitation around sustainable communities. We're here in Cloughjordan Eco-Village now, and I've been involved in Cloughjordan Eco-Village since it started 11 years ago, in Dublin. I don't think it's self-sufficiency that we're trying to achieve here in Cloughjordan. It's really about co-sufficiency, community sufficiency. Really at the heart of what we're doing is building resilience, communities' resilience, our ability as a community to be able to cope with the changes that are happening. So we're already in a crisis. We're in an economic crisis, an environmental crisis that we don't quite know where it's going. And we've got other challenges on the horizon. So how do our communities deal with this? Actually, Transition Initiative is a better description of what we're doing now in the Eco-Village than Eco-Village, because we're really a neighbourhood in Cloughjordan. We're a neighbourhood of an existing village. But it's that scale of village scale that we're really experimenting and exploring how a community does more for itself in many different ways, from food to energy. And so our objective, as I said, was to really try to think about normalising sustainability by putting it into working with a rural community, in a rural community, and still bringing the technologies and new approaches of sustainability to there to look at how we go forward together. I think to face the global challenge, we need to look at the changes that we need to make. You know, Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. That whatever we're doing, wherever we are, that we start to act like global citizens and not just global consumers. It's good with our woofing program with the farm, or now we've changed that to interns. So woofing is willing workers in organic farms. They go around the world sort of look, so people come to work on our farm to get that experience. This year we've changed it to internships through the European Volunteer system, the EVS system, which is really good because they come with some resources and they come for longer. and they also bring a youthful energy to the community. I think what this project is trying to show is that we can live in a more sustainable way. When we think about sustainability, we have to think of not just the environment, we have to have a lower impact on the environment. And we can do that by coming together to provide energy that's renewable. We need to live in houses that perform well so that we don't use too many resources. So we have to think about the environmental impact of the way we live. But with sustainability, we also have to think about the social and the economic. So our relations good in our community would be an indicator of a sustainable community. Are there jobs and livelihoods in this community would be an indicator, an economic indicator of a sustainable community. So we have to think about, and what we're trying to do here in Cloughjordan is experiment with how do we bring all of those together, a really good place to live with conviviality and good neighbourliness, but also respecting and protecting and enhancing nature and biodiversity, while at the same time providing jobs and livelihoods so that this is an economically viable community as well as a social and environmentally viable one. So all the houses in the eco-village are connected to this district heating system rather than having their own energy systems that would have their own fuel stores, you know, and be just less efficient. So a renewable energy district heating system through biomass, burning biomass and solar panels. It's the largest solar array in Ireland. There are 500 square metres of flat plate solar thermal panels for hot water and heat. We have the red gardens, which are the research, education and demonstration gardens. This is Bruce Darrell experiment with how much fruit can we grow in a normal size family garden using different approaches, new approaches like permaculture. So the gardens play a really important role of our experimentation. I would say this if people are listening, that wherever we are, we need to create a stronger sense of place. And we need to know the people around us and what assets and resources we have around us to do what we need to do to sustain ourselves and have a good life.
After a long educational journey and experiencing a wide diversity of community and lifestyles, witnessing these positive actions have given us much hope and inspiration for the present and the future.